In life, there's an undeniable truth. When you put God first, everything else begins to fall into place. It's not always easy and it's not always quick, but when you make God the center of your life, you align yourself with a higher purpose and a plan far greater than anything you can imagine. The challenges you face, the struggles that feel insurmountable, and the paths that seem unclear all start to make sense when you trust in God's guidance. Putting God first doesn't mean everything will be perfect. It doesn't mean you won't face hardships or moments of doubt, but it does mean you'll never face them alone. God's presence in your life is the greatest strength you can have. And when you trust in Him, He will provide you with the wisdom, patience, and resilience to navigate whatever comes your way. Through faith, you gain the courage to move forward even when the road ahead seems uncertain, knowing that His plan is always unfolding in your favor. When you make God your priority, everything else aligns. Your relationships, your work, your passions, and your purpose all find their place in His will. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of life, to chase after things that seem urgent, but may not be important in the grand scheme. When you put God first, He helps you see through the distractions, focusing you on what truly matters: your character, your integrity, your love for others, and your growth as a person. Faith is not just about believing in something higher, it's about surrendering your will to that higher power. It's about accepting that you may not always understand the journey, but trusting that God's plan for you is far greater than any plans you could ever make for yourself. Surrendering control might be one of the hardest things to do, but it is in that surrender that you find peace. When you let go and allow God to take the lead, He directs you in ways that you never could have imagined, and doors open that you never thought possible. In times of adversity, putting God first becomes even more essential. When you're facing trials, your faith will be tested, and there will be moments when you feel like giving up. But remember, it's in those moments that God is refining you, shaping you into the person you're meant to become. He never promises a life without struggle, but He does promise that you will have the strength to endure. When you lean on God, you find the courage to rise above challenges, knowing that He's walking beside you every step of the way. When you seek God first, it also changes the way you approach success. True success is not measured by material wealth or accolades, but by the impact you have on others and the fulfillment you find in living in accordance with your purpose. The gifts and talents you have are meant to be used for His glory, and when you put Him at the center of your efforts, everything you do becomes a reflection of His love and grace. Success will follow, but it will be a success that's rooted in purpose, meaning in a life that honors God. Putting God first also means prioritizing His word and allowing His teachings to shape your daily decisions. In a world full of distractions and competing priorities, it's easy to lose sight of your values. But when you make time for God, for prayer, for reflection, and for studying His word, you gain clarity and direction. You learn to make decisions that align with His will, which leads to peace and fulfillment. No matter what happens, when you keep God at the center, you are equipped to handle the challenges life throws at you, knowing that He is your constant guide. When you allow God to lead your life, you also become more compassionate, loving, and understanding. His love fills your heart, and in turn, you are able to share that love with others. You start to see people not as obstacles or challenges, but as fellow children of God who are all on their own journeys. You become more patient, more empathetic, and more willing to help those in need. Putting God first turns you into a better person, someone who reflects His love and kindness in everything they do. If you're feeling lost or uncertain about your direction, start by focusing on Him. Begin by surrendering your plans, your fears, and your dreams to God, and trust that He will show you the path that is meant for you. In every season, He is there guiding you, protecting you, and leading you toward your destiny. When you make Him your priority, the rest will follow. You'll find peace in the midst of chaos, purpose in the midst of confusion, and hope in the midst of despair. So if you want to build a life that is full of meaning, success, and fulfillment, the first step is always to put God first. Trust that He knows what's best for you and lean into His strength when your own feels weak. You are never alone on this journey. He is with you every step of the way, and with Him all things are possible. Keep your faith strong, stay committed to His will, and watch as He transforms your life in ways you never thought possible. When you put God first, you begin to understand the true meaning of purpose. It's not about chasing fleeting desires or living up to the expectations of the world. It's about aligning your heart with His divine plan. Your life starts to feel more meaningful because you're not just existing, you're living with intention, working towards a purpose far beyond what you can see right now. And this purpose isn't just about you, it's about being a light to others, showing them the love and grace that you've received. The road may not always be easy, and there may be moments of doubt, but the key is to hold on to God's promises, especially when times get tough. His word is a source of strength, wisdom, and encouragement. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, turn to Him for comfort and guidance. Remember, He is always with you, providing you with the strength you need to keep going, even when you feel like giving up. Every challenge is an opportunity for you to grow in faith, and every trial you overcome strengthens your relationship with God. When you make God your priority, you begin to see life through a different lens. Things that once seemed so important, like money, status, or approval, lose their grip on your heart. Instead, your focus shifts to what truly matters: love, kindness, service, and the impact you make on the lives of others. Your success is no longer defined by material wealth, but by the good you can do in this world. Your actions become reflections of His love, and your heart overflows with gratitude for the opportunities He provides. A life that puts God first also fosters peace. In a world full of noise, stress, and uncertainty, it's easy to feel anxious or overwhelmed. But when you center yourself in God's presence, you experience a peace that surpasses understanding. No matter what storms you may face, you can rest assured that He is in control. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your own. Let go of the need to control every aspect of your life and allow God to take the lead. His peace will fill you, calm your worries, and provide you with a sense of stability that the world cannot offer. God's plan for you is greater than anything you could ever imagine. It's not just about your dreams or ambitions, it's about His will for your life. The more you trust in His plan, the more you begin to see how everything falls into place. Your struggles, your victories, your heartbreaks, and your joys all become part of His masterpiece. And when you look back, you'll realize that every step of challenge, every moment of doubt was necessary for you to grow into the person you are meant to be. Don't be afraid to take that step of faith, even if it feels uncertain. Putting God first requires a willingness to trust Him, especially when the way forward isn't clear. Trust that He is guiding you even in moments of uncertainty. Trust that He knows the desires of your heart and that His plan is designed to bring you not just success, but fulfillment and peace. Trust that the path He's leading you on is the one that will ultimately bring you the greatest joy and the greatest impact. As you move forward, stay grounded in gratitude. Thank God for the blessings, the lessons, and the opportunities He's placed before you. Even in times of hardship, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude opens the door to more blessings and helps you maintain a positive outlook. It reminds you that God is always working in your life, even when you can't see it. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, you begin to see the abundance that already surrounds you. Putting God first also teaches you humility. The world often encourages us to be self-reliant, to seek personal gain, and to push for recognition. But true greatness comes from serving others and putting God's will above your own. It's about using your talents, your time, and your resources to make a difference in the lives of those around you. The more you humble yourself before God, the more He elevates you in ways that go beyond earthly achievements. His favor isn't found in human accolades, it's found in a heart that is surrendered to Him, a heart that seeks to serve and love others. The power of prayer is another important aspect of putting God first. Prayer is your direct connection to God, a way to communicate with Him and seek His guidance. It's not just about asking for things, it's about developing a relationship with Him, sharing your heart, and listening for His response. Through prayer, you open your heart to His wisdom, His love, and His direction. Make time to pray daily, and you'll see how it transforms your perspective, your peace of mind, and your ability to overcome challenges. Finally, never forget that putting God first is not a one-time decision, it's a daily commitment. It's a choice you make every single day to prioritize His will over your own, to trust Him in every circumstance, and to rely on His strength instead of your own. It's about living in a way that honors Him, serving others with a humble heart, and staying connected to Him through prayer and reflection. The more you commit to putting God first, the more you'll experience the peace, purpose, and fulfillment that comes from living a life that is fully surrendered to His will. When you make God the center of your life, everything else falls into place. The dreams you've been chasing, the struggles you've been facing, and the desires of your heart are all part of His greater plan. With God guiding you, there's nothing you can't accomplish, no challenge you can't overcome, and no dream too big. Trust in Him, put Him first, and watch as He leads you to a life of purpose, peace, and abundant blessings. When you put God first, you tap into a source of strength and wisdom that is beyond human understanding. It's a power that will sustain you when you feel weak, guide you when you feel lost, and lift you when you feel defeated. This is the divine strength that carries you through life's hardest moments and helps you stand tall even when the world tries to knock you down. With God in your life, you're never alone. He is always there to catch you when you fall and to push you forward when you need it the most. Putting God first doesn't just affect your spiritual life, it influences every aspect of who you are. It transforms your relationships, your career, your health, and your mindset. When you place God at the center, your perspective shifts. You begin to see people through His eyes with compassion and understanding, and you become a source of light and love to those around you. Your work becomes more meaningful because it's not just about achieving personal success, it's about fulfilling a higher calling, using your skills and talents to make a positive impact in the world. There will be times when you face setbacks and obstacles that seem insurmountable. The world may tell you to give up, to settle for less, or to take shortcuts to get ahead. But putting God first means trusting that his timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match your own. It's about understanding that his plan for you is far greater than anything you can conceive on your own. The obstacles you face may seem like roadblocks, but in reality they are stepping stones that are meant to build your faith, strengthen your character, and prepare you for the blessings that are ahead. Trust that every challenge is part of God's greater plan to shape you into the person you were meant to be. When you surrender your life to God, you also surrender the need for control. It's a humbling experience, but it's also liberating. You let go of the worry, the fear, and the stress of trying to orchestrate every detail of your life. Instead, you lean into faith and trust that God will guide you on the right path. The burden of perfectionism lifts, and you begin to realize that you don't have to have all the answers or know exactly how things will unfold. You simply need to trust him and take each step in faith, knowing that he is leading you to where you need to be. Putting God first also means recognizing that true success is not measured by what you accumulate, but by the lives you touch and the legacy you leave. It's about living a life that honors him and reflects his love in all that you do. When your heart is focused on God, everything else falls into place because your priorities are aligned with his will. Success becomes not just about personal gain, but about making a difference in the lives of others, whether through acts of kindness, service, or simply being a positive influence in your community. One of the most powerful aspects of putting God first is the peace that follows. The world offers a lot of things that promise happiness, but true peace only comes from knowing that you are walking in God's purpose for your life. No matter what storms you face, there is a deep sense of calm and assurance when you know that God is with you. His peace doesn't depend on your circumstances. It's a peace that transcends everything else. And when you carry that peace, it becomes a source of strength, not just for you, but for everyone you encounter. Putting God first also teaches you the importance of gratitude. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle of life and focus on what you don't have or what you're striving to achieve next. But when you center your life around God, you develop a deeper appreciation for what you already have. Gratitude changes your outlook, shifting your focus from lack to abundance. You begin to see the blessings in every moment, even in the midst of challenges. And you start to recognize that everything you have is a gift from God. When you live with a heart of gratitude, you invite more blessings into your life and create a mindset that is open to receiving all that God has planned for you. Another crucial aspect of putting God first is understanding that you are part of something greater than yourself. It's easy to get caught up in your own dreams, goals, and desires, but when you live with God at the center, you realize that your life is part of his greater purpose for the world. Your actions, no matter how small they may seem, have a ripple effect that extends far beyond what you can see. The love you share, the kindness you show, and the service you give all contribute to his divine plan for humanity. You become a vessel for his love and a channel through which his blessings flow to others. Putting God first means putting others first. It means living with a spirit of humility, compassion, and selflessness. It means loving your neighbor as yourself and treating others with the same respect and kindness that God shows to you. When you live with this mindset, you not only strengthen your relationship with God, but you also foster meaningful relationships with those around you. You become a reflection of God's love in the world, and through your actions, you inspire others to do the same. At the end of the day, putting God first is about more than just words or rituals. It's about living a life that reflects his love, grace, and purpose. It's about making him the foundation of everything you do, trusting him in every circumstance, and surrendering your plans to his will. When you do this, you will find peace, fulfillment, and success that goes beyond what you could ever imagine. Your life will be a testament to the power of God's love, and through your faithfulness, you will inspire others to put God first in their own lives. So no matter where you are in your journey, no matter what challenges you may face, remember to put God first. Trust that his plan is always unfolding and that he is leading you to a future filled with hope, purpose, and blessings. When you make God the center of your life, everything else will align and you will experience the fullness of his love and the joy that comes from living in his will. Keep the faith, stay focused on him, and watch as he transforms your life in ways that you never thought possible. When you put God first, you begin to understand that life is not about instant gratification, but about long-term fulfillment. The world may offer shortcuts to success, fleeting pleasures, and temporary satisfaction, but these things never last. The true satisfaction that comes from a life devoted to God transcends any worldly achievement. It's about knowing that each step you take, no matter how small, is leading you toward a deeper relationship with Him and a more meaningful life. Putting God first changes your attitude toward failure. Instead of seeing it as a setback, you see it as a stepping stone, a moment for growth, and an opportunity to trust in His plan. The world tells you to avoid failure at all costs, to strive for perfection. But God uses those moments of failure to refine you, teach you, and prepare you for greater things ahead. Failure doesn't define you. Your faith and perseverance in the face of adversity do. With God as your foundation, you can face any challenge with the confidence that He is using it to build something greater in you. Another powerful transformation that comes from putting God first is how you view your resources, your time, your talents, and your wealth. When you align your priorities with God's, you begin to see everything you have as a gift from Him. Your talents are not just for personal success, they are meant to be used for His glory and to serve others. Your wealth is not for self-indulgence, but for blessing others and advancing God's kingdom. Your time is no longer something you hoard for yourself. It becomes a tool to bless those around you, to build relationships, and to serve God. When you view your resources through the lens of His love, you find a greater purpose in everything you do. Putting God first also means living with integrity. The world often encourages us to cut corners, to compromise our values in pursuit of success, or to act in ways that go against our beliefs. But when God is at the center of your life, you have a higher standard to live by. Integrity means doing what is right even when no one is watching, staying true to your values, and honoring God in all your actions. It's about being consistent in your character, whether you're at work, at home, or in your community. Living with integrity creates trust, builds a solid reputation, and leads to lasting success, because it's rooted in honesty, respect, and a commitment to God's principles. When you put God first, you also find a sense of clarity and direction. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But when you prioritize God, He provides you with the guidance you need to make decisions and navigate life's complexities. Instead of feeling lost or overwhelmed, you can move forward with confidence, knowing that He is directing your path. God's wisdom surpasses anything the world can offer, and when you seek His guidance, you're always led toward what's best for you. In the midst of busyness and noise, putting God first also brings balance into your life. It's easy to get caught up in the demands of work, relationships, and personal pursuits, but when God is at the center, He helps you prioritize what's truly important. He gives you the strength to focus on what matters most and the discernment to say no to things that are not aligned with your purpose. Balance doesn't come from trying to do everything. It comes from aligning your life with God's priorities and allowing Him to guide your decisions. Putting God first in your life is also a source of joy. The world may tell you that happiness comes from acquiring things or achieving certain goals, but true joy comes from being in relationship with God. His love fills your heart, and His presence brings peace that nothing else can provide. Joy doesn't depend on your circumstances. It's a deep, unshakable feeling that comes from knowing you are loved, accepted, and guided by a higher power. When you put God first, you tap into a joy that goes beyond temporary happiness and becomes a constant in your life, regardless of what's happening around you. Living with God first also means living with purpose. It's easy to get distracted by the pressures of daily life and to lose sight of why we do what we do. But when you make God your priority, everything takes on greater meaning. Every task, no matter how mundane, becomes an opportunity to honor God. Your work, your relationships, your actions, everything becomes part of His greater plan. You realize that you were created for a purpose, and that purpose is to serve Him and make a positive impact on the world. Living with purpose gives you the drive to continue even when things get tough, knowing that your efforts are part of something much bigger than yourself. Putting God first also brings about healing. Life can be painful, and we all carry wounds from our past, whether it's emotional hurt, betrayal, loss, or disappointment. But when you put God first, you open the door to healing. His love is the balm that soothes your heart. His presence is the comfort that eases your pain. And His forgiveness is the freedom that sets you free. Healing doesn't mean forgetting the past, but it means allowing God to redeem it, using it to strengthen you, and moving forward with a heart that is open to His restoration. In times of doubt, when you question whether you're on the right path or wonder if your efforts are in vain, putting God first reminds you that your labor is never in vain. God sees your struggles, your efforts, and your sacrifices. He knows the desires of your heart and the burdens you carry. When you keep him at the center, he rewards your faithfulness in ways that are beyond your comprehension. Trust in his timing, trust in his plan, and trust that he is working all things for your good, even when you can't see the full picture. Finally, remember that putting God first is not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. Every morning, you have the opportunity to choose to seek him first, to prioritize his will above all else, and to live in a way that honors him. The more you make God the center of your life, the more you experience the peace, purpose, and blessings that come from living in alignment with his will. It's a journey, and it's one that gets richer and more fulfilling as you walk it with him. So, no matter where you are today, know that when you put God first, you unlock the greatest potential within you. His love, his guidance, and his plan for your life will lead you to greater heights than you ever imagined. Trust him, seek him, and keep him at the center of your life. With God first, everything else will fall into place. Putting God first is a decision that sets the tone for every area of your life. It transforms the way you approach challenges, success, and even relationships. You stop relying solely on your own strength or understanding, and instead trust in his wisdom, his timing, and his providence. When you make God your priority, you are no longer bound by the pressure to achieve things on your own terms. You find freedom in his guidance and peace in his provision. When you trust God with your life, you gain a sense of security that doesn't come from external circumstances. You no longer feel like you're constantly trying to control every situation or fearing the unknown. Instead, you place your trust in the one who knows the end from the beginning. He is your rock in times of uncertainty, your anchor when the storms of life rage. And because you know that God is for you, no challenge can shake your confidence or steal your peace. Another key benefit of putting God first is how it shapes your character. When you prioritize God, you begin to reflect his love, grace, and compassion. It's not about striving to be perfect. It's about becoming more like him every day, learning from his example, and extending his love to those around you. The more you center your life around God, the more you see the importance of kindness, humility, patience, and forgiveness. These qualities become natural, not because they're easy, but because you're rooted in God's love, and his love changes you from the inside out. As you continue to put God first, your relationship with him deepens. This relationship becomes the foundation for every other relationship in your life. You begin to love others with a selfless love, understanding that all people are children of God and deserving of respect, compassion, and grace. Your ability to forgive grows, your empathy expands, and you begin to see people not for their flaws, but for their inherent worth as creations of God. This shift in perspective changes the way you interact with your family, your friends, your coworkers, and even strangers. The more you align your heart with God's, the more you reflect his heart for people. Putting God first also impacts the way you view success. The world may measure success by money, status, or achievements, but when God is your priority, success is no longer about what you have, it's about who you are becoming. It's about your character, your faith, and the way you live out your purpose. Success in God's eyes is about faithfulness, doing what he asks, when he asks, no matter how small or large the task may seem. It's about serving others, sharing his love, and bringing glory to his name through your actions. A life that puts God first is also a life of constant growth. When you allow him to guide your steps, you open yourself to personal and spiritual development. God will never leave you where you are. He is always working in you, shaping you into the person you were created to be. You may face trials and challenges along the way, but each one is an opportunity for growth, to strengthen your faith, and to deepen your relationship with him. As you continue to trust him, you'll find that you become more resilient, more compassionate, more confident in his plan for your life. Putting God first also teaches you the importance of serving others. It's easy to get caught up in your own needs, desires, and ambitions, but when you make God the center of your life, you begin to see that true fulfillment comes from helping others. Whether it's through acts of kindness, volunteering your time, or simply being a listening ear to someone in need, service becomes an integral part of your life. You realize that your purpose is not just to live for yourself, but to be a blessing to others, to reflect God's love in the way you treat those around you. And as you serve, you discover the joy that comes from giving without expecting anything in return. Serving others is one of the most powerful ways to live out your faith, and it creates a sense of connection and community that no amount of material success can provide. When you put God first, you learn that true fulfillment comes not from what you get, but from what you give. In a world that constantly tells you to put yourself first, putting God first is a radical choice. But it's a choice that leads to the life of purpose, peace, and fulfillment that we all long for. As you choose to make God the priority in your life, you will begin to see the incredible transformation that takes place within you, in your relationships, and in your impact on the world. God will guide your steps, provide for your needs, and fill you with his love and peace, leading you to a life that is rich with meaning and joy. So remember, putting God first is not just a one-time decision, it's a daily commitment. Every day you have the opportunity to choose him, to trust him, and to live in a way that honors him. And with each day, as you make that choice, you'll find that your life becomes more aligned with his purpose, more filled with his peace, and more overflowing with his love. When you put God first, your life is filled with a sense of direction and clarity. The noise of the world fades, and you're able to hear his voice guiding you through every situation. The uncertainty that often clouds your decisions begins to clear, and you find yourself walking in confidence, knowing that you are following his plan for your life. Each decision becomes an opportunity to align yourself with God's will, and each step you take is one of purpose, not chance. Putting God first transforms the way you see adversity. The challenges you face are no longer obstacles, but opportunities for God to show his power in your life. In those tough moments, you don't feel defeated or abandoned. Instead, you hold on to the assurance that God is refining you, building your character, and preparing you for the blessings ahead. His strength becomes your own. When you feel weak, he makes you strong. When you feel like giving up, his presence gives you the courage to keep going. In every trial, he is shaping you into the person he created you to be. When you place God at the center of your life, your values shift. You no longer measure success by the world's standards, by the amount of money you earn, the recognition you receive, or the material possessions you collect. You begin to see true success as living a life that reflects God's love and purpose. Your heart becomes focused on eternal things, not temporary pleasures. What truly matters becomes crystal clear, loving God with all your heart, soul, and mind, loving your neighbor as yourself, and living out your area of life. Putting God first also helps you cultivate a heart of gratitude. The more you focus on him, the more you begin to recognize the countless blessings that surround you, your health, your family, your opportunities, and even the simple everyday moments. You realize that everything you have is a gift, and you find joy in appreciating the little things. Gratitude becomes your default mindset, and you approach each day with a heart of thankfulness for all that God has done, is doing, and will do in your life. This gratitude extends to your relationships. When you put God first, you are more equipped to love others with the same selfless love that he has shown you. You become less focused on what you can get from others and more focused on what you can give. You are patient, kind, forgiving, and understanding, reflecting God's love in all your interactions. Even in difficult relationships, you are able to see the other person through God's eyes with compassion and empathy. Putting God first enables you to create relationships built on trust, love, and a mutual respect. In the workplace, putting God first changes your approach to success and achievement. It shifts your focus from personal ambition to making an impact for God's kingdom. You no longer measure success by promotions or accolades, but by the way you use your talents to serve others. Your work becomes a ministry, an opportunity to reflect God's excellence and integrity. Whether you are working in an office, a classroom, or at home, your daily tasks take on a higher purpose. You see every project, no matter how big or small, as a chance to honor God and make a positive difference in the world. Living with God first also gives you peace that transcends understanding. The chaos of life no longer has the power to overwhelm you. When you put your trust in God, you know that he is in control, even when everything around you seems out of control. His peace becomes a refuge, a constant source of comfort in times of uncertainty. You don't have to worry about the future or fear what may come. You trust in his sovereignty and rest in the assurance that he will guide you through every season of life. As you continue to put God first, you become more attuned to his presence. It's not just about the big moments or the major decisions. It's about seeing his hand in the ordinary, everyday moments of life. Whether you're driving to work, spending time with family, or enjoying a quiet moment of solitude, God's presence fills every space. You begin to recognize that he is always with you in the highs and lows, in the laughter and tears, in the joys and struggles. With God at the center, you experience a deeper connection to him and a greater sense of peace and contentment. When you choose to put God first, it sets in motion a cycle of blessing and growth. The more you seek him, the more you'll find him. The more you trust him, the more you'll see his faithfulness in your life. As you grow in your relationship with God, you'll find that his presence and his purpose are what sustain you, empower you, and transform you into the person he designed you to be. Every day becomes an opportunity to grow closer to him, to reflect his love more clearly, and to live a life that glorifies him. Putting God first is not always easy. It requires a daily commitment to surrender your plans, your desires, and your will to him. But the rewards far outweigh the sacrifices. As you trust him with your life, he will lead you to places you never imagined. He will open doors of opportunity, bring people into your life who will encourage and support you and fill your heart with joy and peace. When you put God first, you are not just changing your own life, you are making an eternal impact on the world around you. In every season, in every moment, keep God at the center of your life. Make the decision each day to seek him first and watch as he transforms your heart, your relationships, your work, and your future. With God first, you are unstoppable. With God first, you will experience the fullness of life, the depth of his love, and the power of his presence. When you put God first, your perspective on life is completely transformed. The worries and fears that once consumed you begin to fade into the background as you realize that God is bigger than every challenge you face. His power, his love, and his grace overshadow every uncertainty. You no longer live in the bondage of fear or doubt, but in the freedom that comes from knowing that the creator of the universe has your back. You can rest assured, knowing that he is in control of everything and nothing can separate you from his love. When God is first, you start to see the world differently. What once seemed important, money, fame, status, becomes less significant. You begin to see people through God's eyes, understanding that every person is deeply loved by him. You realize that your true worth isn't measured by what you own or how others see you, but by your identity as a beloved child of God. This understanding brings peace and humility as you're able to live with gratitude, knowing that everything you have is a gift from him. Putting God first also teaches you to be generous with your time, resources, and love. The world teaches us to accumulate wealth and focus on self-preservation, but God calls us to live differently. He calls us to be generous with what he has blessed us with. Whether it's helping someone in need, sharing your time, or offering a kind word to someone who is struggling, putting God first means living a life of service and compassion. When you give of yourself, you experience a joy that can't be bought or earned, a joy that flows from the heart of God. As you make God your priority, you also grow in faith. Each step of obedience strengthens your trust in him. The more you surrender your plans to his will, the more you see his faithfulness in your life. You come to realize that God's timing is perfect and that his plans for you are far greater than anything you could have imagined. What once seemed impossible becomes possible when you align your life with his purpose. Your faith grows and you begin to see the world through eyes of hope, knowing that with God all things are possible. Putting God first also gives you resilience in the face of challenges. Life is filled with ups and downs, but when God is at the center, you have a source of strength that doesn't run dry. His promises sustain you through every hardship, and his presence gives you the courage to keep going when things get tough. You are no longer dependent on your own strength, but on the limitless power of God. His grace is sufficient, and his power is made perfect in your weakness. You find strength not in avoiding the storms, but in knowing that God will carry you through them. As you put God first, you also begin to see his work in your life more clearly. You start to understand that everything you go through, every victory and every struggle is part of a bigger plan. God is using every moment to shape you, to refine you, and to prepare you for something greater. Even in moments of difficulty, you can trust that he is working all things together for your good. His plan is perfect and his timing is impeccable. When you place God first, you also experience the depth of his love in a way that changes you from the inside out. His love is unconditional, unwavering, and constant. No matter what mistakes you've made or how far you may feel from him, his love never falters. When you prioritize God, you open yourself to a deeper experience of his level of love that fills your heart, heals your wounds, and overflows into every area of your life. You learn to love others as he has loved you, and that love becomes a driving force behind everything you do. Putting God first is also a call to live with purpose. It's not enough to simply exist. God has a unique calling for each of us. When you put God first, you begin to understand that your life has a specific purpose, and that purpose is to glorify him in all you do. Whether you're at work, at home, or with friends, you have the opportunity to reflect his light in the world. Your actions, your words, your choices, all of them become an opportunity to point others to Christ. Your purpose becomes clearer, and you begin to live with intentionality, knowing that your life matters in God's grand story. One of the greatest gifts of putting God first is the peace that comes from knowing he is with you every step of the way. The world may offer fleeting moments of peace, but God's peace is everlasting. When you put God first, you stop searching for peace in the things of this world, and instead you find it in his presence. No matter what challenges you face, you can rest in the assurance that God is with you, guiding you and giving you the peace you need to navigate through life. As you put God first, you also experience his provision in a way that strengthens your faith. You realize that God is your ultimate provider. Whether it's for your daily needs, your emotional well-being, or your spiritual growth, God provides everything you need. You no longer live in anxiety about what you lack, because you trust that God will meet your needs according to his riches and glory. When you prioritize God, you find that he is more than enough, and his provision goes beyond what you could ever imagine. Putting God first in your life is a continual journey, one that requires commitment, trust, and surrender. But as you continue to make God your priority, you'll see the incredible transformation that takes place in your heart, your relationships, and your life. God's presence will fill you with peace, purpose, and joy. His love will guide you, and his strength will empower you. When you put God first, you unlock the fullness of life, the abundant life that he promises to those who seek him with all their heart. And in doing so, you become the person he created you to be, a person who reflects his love, lives out his purpose, and impacts the world around them in powerful ways. So, choose today to put God first. Trust him with every part of your life and allow him to lead you to the life of abundance and fulfillment that he has planned for you. With God first, all things are possible. And with God first, you will experience the greatness of his love and the power of his presence in every area of your life. Putting God first is not just a decision, it's a lifestyle. It's a choice you make every single day to prioritize his will over your own. It's about surrendering your plans, your desires, and your fears into his capable hands, knowing that his ways are always higher than yours. When you put God first, you're saying, I trust you with everything because I know you are good, faithful, and all-knowing. This trust opens the door for God to move in your life in ways that exceed your expectations. Putting God first also fills you with purpose. You begin to understand that your life isn't random or meaningless. Every moment, every experience has been allowed by God to shape you, mold you, and guide you toward the person he created you to be. You stop wasting time on pursuits that don't truly matter, and instead, you invest in things that bring eternal significance. The goals you set are no longer just about personal success or self-fulfillment. They become a reflection of God's plan for you. You start living with a mission to serve God and others, to love unconditionally, and to make a difference in the world. When you put God first, your heart shifts. You stop living with a mindset of scarcity and start living in the abundance of God's promises. You realize that he is more than enough to meet your needs. Whether you're facing financial challenges, personal struggles, or emotional pain, you can rest in the knowledge that God is your provider, your healer, and your source of strength. You don't have to worry about tomorrow because you trust that he holds your future in his hands. And when you place your trust in God, you find peace that surpasses all understanding. God's love is the ultimate source of strength. When you put him first, his love becomes the foundation of everything you do. It's not about striving to be perfect or to earn his favor. It's about accepting the fact that you are already loved beyond measure. This love empowers you to love others even when it's difficult. It helps you forgive, softens your heart, and it motivates you to act with kindness and compassion. His love teaches you patience, grace, and humility. As you grow in your relationship with God, you begin to reflect his love in every area of your life, transforming not only your own heart, but the hearts of those around you. Putting God first also means living with integrity. When you prioritize God, your values become clear. You no longer compromise your principles to fit into the world's standards or to please others. You stand firm in your beliefs, knowing that God's word is your guide. Integrity isn't just about making the right decisions when people are watching. It's about staying true to what you know is right, even when no one else is around. Putting God first means aligning your actions with your values consistently, no matter the cost. Your character becomes a reflection of his truth, and this authenticity draws others to Christ. Another powerful aspect of putting God first is the way it transforms your relationships. When you put God at the center, you begin to see the people in your life through a different lens. Instead of approaching relationships with selfish motives or expectations, you learn to love others as God loves you. You start to serve, support, and encourage those around you. In your marriage, your friendships, and your family, you lead with humility and grace, putting others' needs before your own. This radical love fosters unity, deepens connections, and brings healing to broken relationships. When you put God first, your relationships flourish. Your influence also grows when you put God first. People notice something different about you. Your peace, your joy, your unwavering faith, it all points back to your relationship with God. You don't need to chase after recognition or approval from others. Instead, you focus on being a light to those around you, showing them the love and truth of Jesus Christ through your actions. By living a life that puts God first, you naturally inspire others to seek him, to trust him, and to follow him. You become a walking testimony of his grace and his goodness, drawing others closer to him through your example. Putting God first doesn't mean life will be free from challenges. In fact, challenges may increase. But the difference is that when you place God at the center, you face those challenges with a new perspective. You know that you don't have to walk through life alone. You have God by your side, and his strength is made perfect in your weakness. When you face trials, you don't crumble in fear. Instead, you stand firm in the knowledge that God is refining you, strengthening your faith, and preparing you for something greater. In every moment, big or small, when you choose to put God first, you experience his presence in a profound way. The more you seek him, the more you realize that he's been with you all along. You start to see his fingerprints in the everyday moments of life, in the laughter with loved ones, in the beauty of nature, in the quiet moments of prayer. Putting God first opens your eyes to the wonder of his creation and the depth of his love. Finally, putting God first brings a peace that transcends understanding. In a world that constantly strives for success, material possessions, and recognition, you find contentment in knowing that your worth isn't based on what you have or what you do. Your worth is found in Christ alone. When you put God first, you're able to rest in the peace that he offers, a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, but on his unshakable presence. No matter what life throws your way, you can walk in peace knowing that God is with you, guiding you and holding you every step of the way. When you put God first, you align yourself with his perfect will for your life. You open the door to transformation, growth, and blessings beyond what you could ever imagine. You experience his love, his provision, and his peace in ways that fill your heart and overflow into every area of your life. The more you prioritize God, the more you become the person he created you to be, and the more you live a life that honors him. And as you continue on this journey of faith, you will discover the fullness of life that only comes when you truly put God first.